Lyme 77. My name is Regina Stoneham, and I am an ME and Lyme Warrior. Lyme 77.
Hi guys, and welcome back to Lyme 77, your channel for ME and Lyme disease inspiration and education, and a little bit about myself. Actually, a lot about myself. So today I'm going to talk about my update on my hip and an update on chronic fatigue syndrome and an update on Lyme disease. So as you noticed, I did change the color of my hair. It is now purple. It is no longer blue. Yes, I love it. And I have been losing weight, which is really awesome. It's really, really hard. I have been fasting 3 days a week. It's a liquid diet. And then the other 2 days I'm eating healthy small meals throughout the day. And I so far have lost 8 pounds. Yay! It has been a while since I've talked to you guys, and I wanted to connect and let you know that I missed you, and I really wanted to get back on here and start talking to you because there has been a lot that has been going on. So the last video that I sent you was about my hip drama, part 1 and part 2, and I will give you a link up above to the hip drama videos. So come to find out, I got an MRI done of my hip. So in the last video, I was told that I had a pulled groin muscle and a strained hip. I got an MRI done, and come to find out, it's called avascular necrosis. And what that is the deterioration of your hip joints. I had a lot of deterioration in my hip joint, and the only thing that I could do was get a hip replacement. And so that is why I have been down for a few months. But there was a time, a few months, where I wasn't able to do that because I was on medication and I was recovering from a major hip surgery. So that was really intense, and I had a really hard time with it, but I got through it. And I took all of my own advice on my inspiration, from my inspiration videos, from not giving up, from not quitting. I just kept going. Even if I couldn't get out of bed, I would. So I learned how to knit, and I have been knitting covers for my family and friends, and I really enjoy it. And I've also been writing music, and I've been working on my writing, and I've also been drawing a little bit, not too much, but it was a really intense time in my life, and I had to shut it all down, shut all social media down, shut everything down so that I could heal and come back with a bang. And here I am. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what had happened with my hip and how I am really disappointed in the emergency room in the hospitals that I went to. They told me to walk it off and that I had a hip strain, and I went in twice. I didn't go in once, I went in twice. Both of the hospitals told me that it was a hip strain. Come to find out that one of the hospitals, their MRI machine was broke. That's one of the reasons why they didn't give me an MRI. So I went to the pain specialist, got an MRI done, and they were like, holy cow, you have avascular necrosis, your hip joint is dead, and you need to go get a hip replacement. And you're really young, and they've never seen anything like that before. Well, I went to the osteopathic doctor, and within 2 minutes, he looked at my results and he said I had to get a hip replacement. And it was very like I said before, it was really, really dramatic. I mean, within 2 weeks, I was in the hospital getting my hip replaced. And when I got my hip replaced, that day I decided that I was going to get up and walk. And I was not going to, I'm a fighter. I am a fighter. I'm a big time fighter. And I was just like, I am not going to let anything like bring me down emotionally, mentally. I'm going to get through this. They've done millions of these hip replacements. So I got the titanium hip replacement with, as of now, it's been about, I would say like since June. So I would say it's been about 9 months, and I'm finally starting to be able to work out again, to be able to move around. It's still sore, and I can feel the muscles rebuilding themselves and everything. So it turned out great, but I was in so much pain and agony. What they did was they stretched out my piriformis muscle, and they didn't tell me. And the piriformis muscle is like this, and your sciatic nerve goes through it. And so what happened was when they stretched out the piriformis muscle, it squeezed like really hard onto my sciatic nerve, and I was in excruciating pain. And they didn't tell me that they were going to do that. And so I thought at first I was going insane. I'm highly sensitive to pain. I'm like, no, like I have been in pain most of my life, my adult life. I can handle a lot of pain, but this was like excruciating. It was crazy. I was like crying and screaming, and nothing was working. Like morphine didn't even work for me. But I would really like to put that behind me and move on because that was really, really bad. That was a bad experience. But for those of you that are having other health issues along with having chronic fatigue, having, Lyme disease, I would say that I'm so sorry, and that it's just one thing after another, and I totally get it. Okay, so like what I do is I choose to think positively. I choose to allow myself to go through those emotions, allow myself to grieve, and allow myself to get angry and upset and everything like that. But then I'm like, I'm not going to be down. I'm not going to be bitter. I'm going to pull myself up. I'm going to grasp onto hope. And that's what I did again. And it pulled me through. So I just want you guys to know that there is hope. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to find it. You have to find what it is that you are like wanting to do. So I teach voice and acting lessons, and I'm a writer, and I'm a mommy, and all of those things. I would think that I'm going to do this again soon. I'm going to do this again one day. I'm going to start working towards this and feeling better, and I'm not going to let the bitterness and the pain and the horrible situation like keep me down. So I would encourage you guys to do the same. Just find that fighting spirit within you, and just don't let those horrible things like define you. I will do more chronic Lyme story time, but I've also added in myalgic encephalomyelitis because I have been diagnosed with chronic fatigue and autoimmune deficiency syndrome, which is also called ME, which stands for myalgic encephalomyelitis. And I was tested for Lyme again. Come to find out, I am negative for Lyme. But I have had Lyme disease for over 20 years, and I'm going to continue making videos on Lyme disease. But I'm going to start focusing on chronic fatigue syndrome and myalgic. It's the same thing. So like myalgic encephalomyelitis, that's like a really hard word to say. So people say chronic fatigue syndrome, and when people hear chronic fatigue syndrome, they think that people are just lazy, and they're not lazy. So I'm going to be doing more videos on chronic fatigue and inspiration while you have chronic fatigue. I call it ME because it's just easier to say, but a lot of people just don't understand what that is. And like even my family, they don't understand what that is. So on top of having Lyme disease and babesia, I also had chronic fatigue syndrome. And come to find out, I have 4 active viruses on top of that. One of them including Epstein-Barr, the shingles virus, and then there's 2 others that I cannot pronounce and it's hard to remember. So I started seeing a chronic fatigue doctor, and he has been wonderful. He works with Stanford, and he's one of the top researchers in the field here in California. And I have actually, we have tried some different types of medications that haven't worked, but right now I'm on a wonderful regimen. I have my energy back, not 100%. I still have to listen to my body and take naps and rest, but I can walk. I can walk my kids to school. I can work out. I can do sit-ups. Like I said, I just really have to listen to my body and not push myself so hard. But I'm going to get into that a little bit later. I just wanted to give you guys an update on my hip. It's doing a lot better. I can't do yoga. Yoga. Sorry for you yoga fans. I can't do yoga. I was really never into yoga before either, so I'm not complaining about it, but I can't like do any of those crazy stretches that you yoga people can do, but I'm completely fine with that. I've got the elliptical, I've got my bike, I've got, the treadmill. I can walk. It's beautiful here in California. In the next video, I want to talk to you more about ME and chronic fatigue. Okay. The question of the day is, how do you handle being diagnosed with multiple diseases or multiple illnesses? Let me know your story. And how do you handle it? Are you positive about it? Are you negative about it? Do you grieve first? And then do you pull yourself up by your bootstraps and keep going and fighting through? Like, what do you do to find your hope, find your dreams? If you like what you saw, please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button, and feel free to share it. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. I love you guys. Bye. Mwah. I can't say anymore. I just said again. So if you want to watch, so if you're interested in, then keep on watching. It's called avascular. I have an itchy nose.